Today we've got to look at the MINOLTA Freedom Escort. Coming right up. There's an office I work at a couple times a month, and on the way home from that office I pass a Goodwill thrift store. Now these days Goodwill auctions off a lot of their cameras online, but this particular Goodwill store in Delaware, Ohio still occasionally has film cameras on the shelves. So I stopped by the other day and I did find a film camera. This is one I didn't really know a whole lot about. It's the MINOLTA Freedom Escort. Now there was one problem. There was no price tag on it. Some thrift stores will absolutely not sell you an item without a price tag. Some will call the manager over to price it on the spot. Some will take the item to the stock room in the back and tell you to come back later after it's been priced. And I've experienced all those situations. Now, even though I didn't know much about this camera, I knew that it fired up because I brought my little bag of batteries with me like I always do. I love the form factor and the styling of this camera, and I just had a hunch it might be better than your average point and shoot, so I really wanted to pick this one up. So I took it to Monica, the cashier, and I said, hey, can you tell me the price on this? I couldn't find a price tag. She picked it up, gave it the once over and said, $250? And I nonchalantly said, okay, I guess I'll take it. But on the inside I was thinking, I just scored pretty big. Now after doing a little research, I figured out that this camera was introduced in 1991, and in some markets it's known as the MINOLTA Riva AF-MINI or the MINOLTA PICO. Now as far as specs go, it's got a 34mm f3.5 lens with 4 elements in 3 groups. It focuses from 22 inches or 55 centimeters to infinity. Shutter speeds range from 1/5 of a second to 1/350th of a second, and it does have a 10-second self-timer too. Now mine does have a cord state back here. Not all models do. You can hear it's got automatic wind and rewind. The DX coder here can handle speeds of 50 up to 3200. On the bottom you see a standard tripod thread, and then the whole thing is powered by one CR123A battery, and it does power down after 5 minutes of inactivity. Up top here, let me go ahead and turn it on so you can hear what it sounds like. Now the LCD screen has indicators for battery level, frame counter, self-timer, and flash mode. Built-in flash actually has 5 modes. The default one when you turn it on is auto with red eye reduction. Then you click the button once. Next mode is auto. Then the next one after that is forced on with red eye reduction. Click it again. You've got forced on. And then click it one more time, you get my personal favorite, which is off. There's a mid-roll rewind button over here too. The whole thing is pretty light. By itself, it's only 150 grams, and then it's just 210 grams with the battery and a 36 exposure roll of film installed. Now the viewfinder on the top here has one LED light in it. If you have a light that lights up steady, you're in focus and your exposure is good. It'll blink fast if your subject is too close, or if the flash isn't ready, and it'll blink slowly to warn you if your shutter speed is going to be longer than 1/30th of a second. Now that we've taken a closer look at the camera, I'd like to show you some samples of what it can do. I was generally pretty pleased with the quality of these images. As far as how it compares to my other point and shoot compacts, it doesn't match the Carl Zeiss lens of the Yashica T4, which I still need to review here, but I'd rate it as comparable to the Nikon Light Touch AF that I reviewed here back in October of 2018, and it holds its own against the Olympus Stylus too, and even the Stylus Epic. Plus, you can usually find these for a price that's a little bit less epic than the Olympus. And if you are looking for one of these on an auction site like eBay, my tip is to make sure you check for it under all its different names. Remember, this is known as the MINOLTA FREEDOM ESCORT, the MINOLTA RIVA AF-MINI, the MINOLTA PICO, so definitely check for it under all those names. You never know what might turn up. So again, this is not the most refined compact point and shoot out there, but it does offer a reliable meter, good contrast, good color rendition, and a reasonably sharp lens at a price that's a little more reasonable than some of its contemporaries. So if you find one of these cheap, it's definitely worth picking up. And if you find one for $2.50 like I did, it's a no-brainer. That's it for today's episode, so until next time, do some good, have some fun, and shoot some film.